Hello, everyone. My name is Stacey. I'm an organizer of a Pixel Perfect product conference here in London. It's, a conference for product designers, UX, UI designers, and innovators. If for those who are looking to accelerate their career and learn new skills, I curated a lineup of speakers who have very different skills in product design and innovation. I had the pleasure to talk to my second speaker, Joey Thompson. He's a product designer at Miro, and he also worked at The Economist and the Intercom, so he has quite an impressive background. And his focus is on user psychology. So in this interview, we talked about, psychology, cognitive biases, and, how the hell he got hired in Miro. So I hope you'll enjoy the interview. And if you want to hear more from Joey, come to Pixel Perfect. See you there. Hello, Joey. Thank you for joining me on this call.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. Can you please share a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you do?
Key pillars of my design practice tend to be user-centered, psychology-driven design, sometimes known as behavior design, as well as linking that or bridging that between business outcomes with growth design. And more broadly, I'm just a generalist, like end-to-end product designer.
Following your career path, you've been a designer at The Economist, Intercom, and now Miro, which is really impressive. So can you tell us a little bit how did you get there?
I started out as a professional opera singer and gradually transitioned into the world of UX design about...
Very gradual journey.
Yeah, it's the standard opera singer to product designer pipeline. What? Everybody knows it. Sure. Yeah. So I've always cared about how people perceive things and think and feel and act in different situations. And I've been like a lifelong geek as well. Like I loved computers and software, from the day I was born. So it was a natural marriage of the psychology with that passion for technology and software. So I tend to follow my passions and what's interesting me right now. And I love journalism, I love current affairs, and I love The Economist. So I was like, I want to work there. And there I got to work across the entire product stack, from working on the app to the website to designing future products and strategy as well. So I just got to work on everything there. It was wonderful. From there, I started to get into growth design a bit more, and I wanted to work in a more tech-forward, higher product maturity organization. So I took that to Intercom. From Intercom, Miro was a really natural leaping point because it's a product that just gets so many more regular users in the front door. It's a lot more B2C than B2B, although B2B plays a large part. And I just loved using the product myself. I used it for my design and ideation. And again, I tend to follow these passions about, do I enjoy using this? Do I believe in the mission? Do the incentives of the business align with the customer? And so, yeah, that's usually what leads my choice in career moves.
During your interview at Miro, do you think there was something in particular that you said that stood out and they were like, yeah, this is our guy, we're taking him? Do you know if there was such a moment?
One of the kind of anti-patterns of interviews, I think, is trying to give a really clever answer to everything. And the truth is I lean into what I know I'm good at. And I don't pretend that I've got the answer to everything.
That's a good advice. Thank you. And moving forward into user psychology and behavioral design, can you tell us a little bit about what it is?
User-centered design, right? Aligning our design with users' mental models and expectations. This is playing into users' existing knowledge, context, both social, environmental, and just historical, and designing to fit that existing context and perception and behaviors to marry them, to bridge the user with their motivation, and to structure your design in a way that facilitates that individual just flying through your product with zero friction.
Is it just purely experience and a lot of research with your target audience, or there are like certain books that designers can read to actually improve their UX game?
That's something that like these LLM models are amazing at, like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Anthropic. They're absolutely fantastic at like introducing you to a topic, generating syllabuses for you, like personalized to your exact knowledge and what you need to understand, and tailoring it to like your learning style. There's never been a better time for this. Like YouTube, like Instagram, TikTok, books, like that. There's something out there for whatever your learning style is. So my path into this, which was like, lots of reading books and podcasts and things like that, might be different to my recommendation nowadays, which would probably be to start with the ChatGPTs of the world and then generate a syllabus and take it from there.
Mm-hmm. Can you recommend any books or podcasts so we can share with our audience?
Sure. I mean, the classics, right? Like The Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman, like talking about like the heuristics of design, is just instrumental in our understanding of how humans perceive designed objects and things. Like it's just fantastic. It's still as good now as it was back then. Engaged Design for Behavior Change by Amy Bucher is like a one-stop shop for user psychology. Conversational Design by Erica Hall, another amazing book about what back then was chatbots, but is equally applicable to designing for AI and how humans interface with agents of like a system, like ChatGPT. Oh, of course, Steve Krug's Don't Make Me Think, right? This is like another intro primer to like user-centered design and just those like fundamental concepts in a way that's just so easy to grasp. You don't need to be reading like Google Scholar studies and things like that. If you get into this, you will end up doing that and reading up about the behavior change wheel and all the exciting stuff. But you don't need to become a PhD to get into this and find tricks and tips that you can apply to your everyday design.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the most common cognitive biases that affect the user experience?
One that Daniel Kahneman talks about in Thinking Fast and Slow. Oh, there's another book recommendation. Yeah. Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow. Right? It's not talking about product design, but it's talking about cognitive biases and how we perceive and how we process information in a way to minimize cognitive overload, which often means using cognitive biases to shortcut our decision-making processes. So one of the cognitive biases that Kahneman talks about all the time is what you see is all there is, or WYSIATI. What you see is all there is. What that means is humans will make decisions based on the information in front of them, and they will give a lesser weight in that priority stack to information that they don't see, even if it's pertinent to their to the decision-making process or to their personal belief system. We are more likely to make decisions based on the information in front of us. That includes judges making decisions based, sentencing decisions based on the information provided by the lawyers in that case, rather than like everything that was neglected to be mentioned. But this applies equally to product design. We're extremely influenceable creatures. So just by being deliberative as a designer about what you display to a user at what point, also known as choice architecture, that influences how we perceive and how we make decisions. And it can affect brand perception, perceived feature perception, influence product discovery, all the amazing stuff. But don't underestimate what being deliberative and adding constraints to what you display in any given screen or flow or modal, and how that can influence behavior. What that often means is think about which types of behavior you want to drive or which perception you want to engender, and then base the choice of options that you provide and the information that you put on that screen, in that flow, in that journey, based on that perception and decisions you want to drive. The counter to that bias is known as reactance. This happens not just in digital products, but everywhere in social encounters, in the real world. When humans feel like their agency is being limited, our reaction is called reactance. And that's often in digital products that manifests as bouncing off a web page, churning from a product. Because instead of making the choice to continue within this artificially constrained choice set, we'll just go, nope, I'm going to nope out of this. And you bounce, you churn. So we have to be extremely careful. It's a tightrope walk of shaping an experience towards the behaviors we want to drive versus limiting the choices away from what our users and the people who interface with our products actually want to use their product.
For example, if you have conflict with your managers, like stakeholders regarding a certain feature, and you've done your research and you used like all your knowledge in user psychology and like behavioral science, and you know that like this would be the best way to like design this feature or a product, but then your management is like, no, do this. Like, how do you navigate this conflict?
The final thing that can cause this discord between the designer and your stakeholder can often be that you're speaking in different languages. And what you think creates a compelling argument for a design to be pushed forward actually doesn't resonate with that designer. If you're talking about likability, users love this when we do this, and they've been clamoring for that, might actually not resonate with that stakeholder. So make sure that you actually understand what they care about and what's driving that. And if you can speak the same language as them, it's a lot more likely to be persuasive.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very short and sweet answer. Yeah, and how agile is your team at Miro? Like, do people like work in a very like fast pace, so like the every decision, because Miro is a huge company and you have a huge user base. So how careful your team is with making any changes?
Miro is a big company. It's around 2,000 people. So the velocity and appetite for risk and experimentation will vary throughout different teams. For more business sensitive things like pricing and packaging and things typically associated with growth organizations, will have a lot greater appetite for experimentation and generating learnings that are a lot more data driven. Whereas product teams will focus on core features, maybe a bit slower, or more, rather than slower, more deliberative about the changes that they make, and make sure that it resonates and is creating desired outcomes for their target personas, and that we're not creating any unintended outcomes there. And likewise, for features that touch the enterprise, such as admin security, these are extremely risk-averse personas. And so those designs and features have to be designed with those folks in mind, with a lot more consulting and co-design and generally more attention, care, and of course, anything that touches legal or compliance. But within product teams that aren't working in such high risk areas, there can be like extreme agility, appetite for risk, launching something based on a gut or looking to make a big bet without like wanting to do like a whole Kano modeling like analysis of like, you know, desirability of features. So yeah, the team I work in tend to be more in that like high appetite for risk, high velocity, high agility, and willingness to pivot or completely revert something, roll it back.
Yeah. What do you think about new Jaguar, Brandon?
As I think we've seen online, there's been lots of hilarious memes made about this. But really, they're just trying to fit in this new world in the same way that like we all are. So it's very understandable from like an empathetic point of view. And as with so many rebrands, it will get like ripped apart initially, and then it will just become this is the way the brand is. So if they can weather that, if they can weather their brand cancellation, I'm sure they'll come out the other side and people will just think of it as that's the Jaguar brand.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And so for the last question, do you have any tips or advice for designers who are looking to accelerate their careers?
Block out time in your own calendar to apply those same principles and carefully designed and curated and deliberative approach to your own career that you do to your designs. That means putting in the time with those stakeholders who like have the influence in advancing your career. This is internal advancement, by the way. Putting in the time, making sure, like we were talking about with stakeholders, that you're speaking the same language as them, that by you demonstrating your capabilities and growth in the areas that they care about, it actually makes them look good as a manager. Remember that they have their own goals and needs and incentives as well. So do whatever you can to bridge those two things together. By my growth, I'm making you look good, and we need to keep talking about it, keep that brag sheet that folks talk about, and generate a narrative with your manager and with those stakeholders who can grow your career. You have to unlock the mindset of continuous growth, like eternal curiosity. A designer is never done learning, and we're at this epochal shift as we transition to like AI-driven products or AI-accelerated work. And nobody's figured out what the way to interact with AI is. Nobody knows what the end state of AI design is. We're at this completely, we're into this completely new world, and how we use AI to influence and enhance our existing skill sets. Like we're only scratching the surface right now. So you need to come in with a complete blank mind, the Buddhist term, mind like water. You need to enter the way you approach your career with mind like water, and just stay learning, stay on your toes, and take nothing as read.
Thank you so much for your time and for this interview. I'm very honored to have you as a speaker at Pixel Perfect. As I said, I hope you enjoyed the interview, and I hope you loved Joey as much as I did, so that you will want to meet him in person. And to do so, come to Pixel Perfect conference. I will see you there. Bye.